Welcome back to the Premier League prediction, where I predict the weekend results and give you a bit of a preview as to what's going to happen. Starting off with our first game, which is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Now this game is going to be a big one, especially as Nottingham Forest have a new manager in Ange Postecoglou, and we all know he brings a certain chaos style of football to the game. Now Arsenal, I think, are definitely going to be a lot better than they were last time in Gameweek 3. Obviously we've had an international break in between, but I think at home they're going to come out attacking. They're not going to try and play for a draw and hopefully get a counter-attack goal to win like they did against Liverpool. They're going to go for it and they're going to score some goals, especially with Ange's new tactics. I'm guessing Nottingham Forest are going to be playing a lot higher of a line and they're going to get caught out by Arsenal's attack. So I'm going for an Arsenal win, and I think this one could actually get quite ugly, as I just think the new tactics and the new manager and the new system isn't quite going to be there for Nottingham Forest, and Arsenal are going to take full advantage of that. The next game is Bournemouth versus Brighton. Now this is an interesting one because I really didn't at the start of the season have Bournemouth playing so well, but they have been fantastic so far, getting results, and Brighton have kind of been there at the races, but at times have given away silly points. So as Bournemouth are at home, I think they're going to just about edge this one. I think maybe a Semenyo goal to win it for them. So I'm going to go for a Bournemouth win, but it is going to be a very tight game and may even end in a draw. Crystal Palace, Sunderland, well, this is only going one way, unfortunately. Sunderland have been great so far. 2 wins out of their first 3 games. However, Palace are a solid side. They haven't lost a game yet, and they just have so good defensively, and then they have those counter-attacking options that can win them games. So I think Palace will defend well, keep Sunderland out, and will get a goal and win the game. So I'm going for a Palace win in this one. Everton versus Aston Villa. Now, if you asked me this game at the start of the season, I would have said Aston Villa are going to win this. However, we're 3 games in now, and Everton are looking amazing, especially in their new stadium. They're looking defensively sound thanks to the likes of Jordan Pickford. Offensively, they've been fantastic because Jack Grealish has found the Jack Grealish form we all knew he had, that he was limited at City. He wasn't allowed to flourish, but at Everton he's allowed to be free, and the passes he's making is ridiculous. And so for that reason, I think Everton are going to win this one. Jack Grealish will find those passes to get them the goals, and Aston Villa really haven't turned up in any game so far this season. So yeah, definitely for me this one is going to be an Everton win. Fulham versus Leeds. This is going to be a probably quite dull game, I'd say, because Leeds so far have created the least chances in the Premier League, I believe. Fulham haven't really gone at any team. They've kind of got draws here and there, but they haven't really been explosive enough. But I think Fulham will just about edge it, but it's going to be a very fought-out game in the midfield. There's not going to be many chances, and when there is, Leeds players are going to sky them. So I'm going to go for a Fulham win, but it's going to be like 1-0. Newcastle United versus Wolves. This could be a very interesting one. Obviously, Newcastle United will be playing one of their new strikers, if it's Wiltmead or Visa or both of them on the pitch in some capacity. And to have an actual striker is going to make such a difference for the Geordie side, as that's really what they've been lacking in their previous games. Against Leeds, they needed a striker. Against Liverpool, they found goals, but a full out-and-out striker would have been very helpful and probably would have won them the game. And then in their first game against Villa, they just, again, needed a striker. So now they've got a striker. Hopefully, Wiltmead, I presume, will be starting, as they paid so much money for him, will be able to find the net for them. And if they do, that's going to be the difference in this game, because going to St James's Park is a really difficult game for anyone, and Wolves are going to find it there, especially with the crowd up and ready for the game, especially with the new striker coming in. So I think Newcastle will just have too much for them. They'll win the midfield battles, and having a striker on the pitch means they probably will actually score some goals. So I'm going to go for a big Newcastle win. West Ham versus Tottenham. This one, I have no idea how to predict. West Ham could turn up like they did in Game Week 3, or they could be like the rest of the season we've seen, which is absolutely rubbish. Then we have Tottenham, who beat Man City and looked incredible on their opening weekend, but then looked shocking against Bournemouth. So I don't know which Tottenham's going to come out. If the Tottenham we saw in the first 2 games comes out, they're going to breeze through this one against West Ham. But I don't know. There is going to be some sort of derby element about it. In the end, I think Tottenham should have enough to get past them. But it could be a draw. It could be a draw, but I think Tottenham will just edge past it. But there's probably going to be a lot of goals. The final game on Saturday sees Brentford versus Chelsea, and unfortunately for the home side, I think they're going to lose. Chelsea have looked ridiculously good this season. Only Crystal Palace has managed to stop them from winning, and they're going forward. They're fantastic. João Pedro has been amazing. The whole team is working together, and then defensively they've been pretty sound. Now it's going to be a question mark whether João Pedro and some of the other Brazilians play, especially as they only got back, I think, on Thursday night. But even if they come off the bench, they're going to do some serious damage. So for me, I think they're just going to have too much for Brentford, but Brentford have looked better, and obviously Kelleher in goal could be their saving grace. But I think Chelsea will probably win this one. On to Sunday, and we have Burnley versus Liverpool. Now, I know Liverpool have been poor in all their games so far this season, but they have managed to get wins. Against Burnley, however, though, they will go into full destruction mode, especially with Alexander Isak now being part of the team. It's going to be a scary prospect. Whether Isak or Ekitike starts, one of them is probably going to come off the bench to replace at about the 60th minute, and that is scary enough for a Burnley defence that is leaking goals. So for me, this has got a massive thrashing written all over it. The final game of the weekend is Man City versus Man United. It is the Manchester derby, and this fixture has thrown a few curveballs throughout the years, and this year I think it's going to throw another curveball. Both Man City and Man United have had pretty terrible starts to the season, and for that reason, it's going to be one of those games where it's just going to be madness. There's going to be goals left, right, and centre. I think both teams will score. And you know what? I think it's actually going to be a draw. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's a draw, and it's just going to be the Manchester derby magic. So those are my predictions for the weekend. Do you agree with me or not? Let me know all your predictions in the comments.